It's time!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the debut edition of the Fight Degenerates. You may recognize this from our old show, the Pound for Pound show, but that was our quarantine name. That was the virtual meeting name. We're here, we're live, we're in person. I am Philip, and joining me as always are Ben and Russ and Z, special guest this week. So how you gentlemen doing?
Doing awesome, Phil.
Good. Live and in person.
Yes. It's great to finally meet you guys. No,
Yeah.
we've never actually met in person. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, these two are brothers, and they've never met in person. So
Right.
it's crazy how that works. So,
right.
But we just thought this would be a fun new format, so we come at you with a new name, some new segments, and some new fun stuff to discuss. So some of the same old shenanigans, some new shenanigans, a mascot. It's going to get crazy here. So, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some good stuff. I guess we should probably start by one of the biggest MMA stories of the year. You know, the return of Jon Jones. Went about as well as it possibly could have. So I'll kind of throw it over to you guys to give me some comments. What did you guys see? What did you guys like? What do you think? Russ, you can go ahead and start us off, and then Ben, throw it over to you.
I thought it was ridiculously easy for him. You know, I don't know how much credit Jones gets or how much, stock Gaethje loses, because that was just awful. Like how easily he got put against the cage and submitted. It was just silly. Like a heavyweight title fight shouldn't be that easy, especially when somebody's been out for 3 years. I mean, credit to Jon Jones for being the greatest light heavyweight, but I don't think anybody thought his debut at heavyweight would be that ridiculously easy. Mm-hmm. Really, really impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's insanely impressive. I mean, you can't take anything away from Jon Jones, but like Russ said, that's inexcusable at that level of fighting. You can't go to the ground and get submitted in that choke at the highest level of fighting. That's just, Gane's got a lot of work to do, and Jones has no work to do, and his legacy builds as the GOAT. Yeah, and he's got Stipe coming up next, which should be an awesome fight, but I'll probably finish him in like 2.5 minutes too. So.
It was interesting, and again, I don't want to take anything away from Jon Jones, because certainly to be away that long, and I kind of thought he would win fairly easily, not that easily, but I didn't give Gaethje much of a chance in that fight. But it was one of those classic fights, and it seemed like you saw him more in the old days. That fight was over before it started. Gaethje looked like he didn't want to be there. He looked like he knew he was in there. Like the aura of Jon Jones beat Gane before that fight even started.
Right.
Like he looked like he didn't want to be there. He didn't look like himself.
Right.
And it reflected in his performance. He looked like he had no idea what to do. And as soon as Jon got him down, he pretty much was just like, well, that's a wrap. I'm out of here. It
was crazy, man.
So
few fighters have that effect. Jones has that effect. McGregor had that effect for a little bit, and Rousey had that effect for a little bit.
Yeah.
They were beat before they got in there with him.
Yeah.
The opponents were defeated. Yeah.
I always think of it, and I know we're going way back, but I always think when it was like, when it was Vanderlei against all of the Japanese fighters in Pride, like those dudes looked like they knew that they were just in for just
a long night, or a short night.
They looked like they were like, I'll be lucky if I get out of here alive,
right.
And that's kind of like Gane was just like, let's just get this over with. So, and again, I apologize if that's being disrespectful. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like he just did not want to be there, and he kind of knew ahead of time how that was going to go.
Honestly, Gane, his next camp needs to be wrestling heavy, or go back to kickboxing. Work on your wrestling. You have to. At this stage of the game, it's never too late. We've seen Reem and some other fighters implement wrestling later on in their career. He needs to do that. Work on your wrestling. But
he said that he doesn't train really, though, outside of like training camp. Like he doesn't like to train. I think he was
trolling.
I don't know. I thought that too initially, and then I seen the fight and I was like, oh, he doesn't train.
Yeah, he wasn't kidding.
Yeah, he
really
didn't.
Well, I don't know. We don't know the truth.
Give us what we really want. Give us Francis back in there, and let's see Francis and Jones throw down.
Yeah. Well, I think before we get that, it looks like we're probably going to get Jones and Stipe, which is an interesting matchup because Stipe is, a very athletic heavyweight that throws pretty hard and
can wrestle.
Yeah, it seems like probably the toughest matchup for Jones from like a skill standpoint. I mean, Francis always has like the nuclear option because he could stop literally anybody, but I think a lot of people would predict a Francis fight going very similar to the Gane fight, as Jones would just get him to the ground and Francis would be out of his element at that point if Francis doesn't smash him in the first 30 seconds. But Stipe is pretty skilled. He's pretty fast. He's pretty good at staying off of his back, and it's an intriguing matchup. If that goes down, how do you guys see that one going?
Oof, that is a tough one to call. Jones would have, I think, the size advantage, and just the skills advantage. Boxing, he has I think he has every advantage. I honestly can't see anyone on earth defeating John Jones. So I don't know. That's how I see it going.
Yeah, it seems like a tough matchup, especially since we haven't seen Stipe in forever. You know, he just fights so rarely. Yeah, I don't see it going well for him. And he's older. He's taken some hard beatings.
Right.
I think the line's up, and I think Jones is like, what is he, like a 3-1 favorite or something?
3-1 favorite.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Against arguably the heavyweight GOAT.
yeah.
That is wild. But yeah, a lot of time's passed, and Stipe's getting up there. And so we'll see. We'll see when that fight comes around.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But yeah, it's you can't, I know Jones is a polarizing figure. A lot of people love him. A lot of people not as much. But it's hard to discredit his accomplishments and just his level of skill. It's like, even been watching him since the very beginning of his career, since his very first UFC fight, and it's still just really incredible to sit back and watch a guy that's just that complete of a fighter that just beats other guys so handily. And he's been doing it his whole career, going all the way back to when he cleaned out the light heavyweight division at like 23 years old.
He did it in a very fast too. Ran through him.
Yeah, he beat so many legends, it like almost made him unlikable. Like it was,
Right.
Yeah, before he was actually unlikable.
Right.
It was just like, this guy is just he's just something else. He's just the next level of MMA fighter.
He is,
and the game hasn't quite caught up to him yet. So.
He's the GOAT in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion. I think.
It's not an unpopular opinion these days. Not an unpopular opinion, is it, Z? No, it's not at all. But that was then, and we got some big fights coming up here very soon. Thank you for moving that. Z is all in my business. So, Z, you want to get on the microphone here? What are you saying? Say something for the people. No? All right. So, got some more big fights coming up. So the big rematch coming up between Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman, the man who shocked the world. Leon beat who was considered to be unbeatable in Kamaru Usman, and they're going at it for the third time in the rubber match. This time, Ben, how do you see that one going down? And then throw it over to Russ.
Well, that last fight had a shocking ending, but it went how everyone kind of thought it was going to go for about 4.5 rounds. Kamaru just dominating him in the wrestling game. And I think that's how this goes. And I don't think Leon gets the Hail Mary walk-off knockout this time. I think Usman gets his belt back via a lot of wrestling. And, yeah, I'm going to say he takes a decision. What do you think, Russ?
I was more sure about it the second time. I thought Kamaru was going to get it done rather easily, and he was, up until that last minute and a half when he got destroyed. This one has a lot of interesting things about it. Being in Leon's hometown, that's a big thing, I think. Kamaru, this being his first fight after winning, I think it was like 18 or 19 fights in a row, and then getting knocked out cold. Like, I don't know, maybe his chin is broken a little bit now. Maybe like another head kick could end him. There's a lot of factors. Confidence is definitely going to be a factor. His confidence is shook probably, being that he was laying on the canvas out cold last time they fought, and Leon knows now he can land that one shot and do it. Mm-hmm. I think there's just a lot of interesting factors in this one.
You're right.
That, I mean, everything tells me Kamaru's going to do the same thing, because he was winning. He was winning that fight everywhere. Really, he was taking him down. He was winning the stand up. He was winning everywhere that fight could be
because of the threat of the takedown.
Yeah, he was winning everywhere. So I lean Kamaru by decision, fighting a very similar style, but just being more cautious this time. Say he's up on the cards like he was 100% last time. Maybe not engaging so closely, and
getting it to the ground.
Yeah, maybe backing up a little bit, not going forward so much. I don't know, just whatever he has to do. I don't see him putting himself in that situation if he does get up. Mm-hmm. If Leon wins, I think it could be something early that he catches him with.
Okay.
But I'm leaning Kamaru by decision. I just think he's better and more well-rounded fighter.
So you think Usman gets his belt back too? What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I think so.
Could not be more aligned with you guys. I think that it's going to be, like I said, I think that Russ makes a lot of good points. I think Kamaru's going to fight a more careful fight because he knows that Leon can do it.
Yeah.
But I just think Kamaru is smart enough and has enough tools in the toolbox to not put himself in that position. Like, I think back to before Kamaru thought he was a great boxer, like how dominant he was with his wrestling. I think his team should guide him in that direction to basically just use his striking to set up the takedowns. Because it seemed like from the first fight, he can control Leon at will if he chooses to.
Yeah.
If he chooses to stand there and engage, it could get interesting. And he could, because how some guys, they can't shake that. They get to that point in their career, they get a few knockouts, and then all of a sudden they just think that they're these incredible boxers, or their ego gets in their way and they feel like they have to engage guys in a fist fight.
Right. I would say that after the Colby fight is when he really started to do that.
Right. And then he started, he changed camps and he started knocking dudes out and landing big right hands, and but he doesn't have to put himself in that position. And if he chooses not to, I think he wins, a tough on the fans 25-minute decision.
Right.
If he chooses to engage because his ego can't let him do that, and he has to try to get his KO win back, it could be a fun fight. So
right.
He did it against Burns too, like where he wanted to stand in there and trade, and Burns rocked him in that first round. Like, he has become kind of reliant on his chin, like absorbing big shots because he likes to throw now. I would recommend not doing that. I'm sure his team is telling him that,
Yep.
Do not do that.
Yeah, it worked until it didn't. So now they're like, all right, you see why you don't go out there and trade punches with people now? Like, let's just not.
Right.
Like Leon, no disrespect to Leon, he has nothing to offer Kamaru if the fight is on the ground. He has nothing to offer.
Very true.
So, yeah, I'm with you guys. Kamaru by decision. We'll probably fall asleep.
Pretty rare we're all in agreement on a fight.
Not even just on the winner, but on the finish as well. Like, it seems like we're pretty much, that's I don't know that's ever happened before.
Right.
Unless it was like a one-sided, if we were like, oh, this person by destruction.
Right.
We've probably agreed on that a couple times.
I think Valentina, and that didn't go well.
Probably a couple times, yeah. But she, again, like I said, how many times was that the right pick? So,
right.
And yeah, we probably could have recapped that fight. I didn't even, I forgot about that. But I would have picked that. If they fought tomorrow, I would pick Valentina by destruction again.
Right.
Would too. With no hesitation.
I would too.
Yes, I would put a large.
Because she fought great that fight and just got caught.
Yeah. Yeah. One mistake.
What are you
That's
gonna
all
do?
It takes.
It's the fight game.
She probably won't make it again.
It's the fight game.
So, good stuff. But what is not going to be boring is the other fight on that card. We've got Fiziev and Gaethje, which should be, Gaethje I don't think he is capable of putting on a boring fight.
He's not.
So I think it's going to be pretty great. Russ, I see that one going.
I see it going pretty quick. Like, I don't know how long it's going to last because they both go in there and just trade recklessly and eat shots. So it's going to be whoever lands the bomb first. And I love Gaethje. He's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, but I'm leaning Fiziev. I think he's just younger and a little fresher. I think Gaethje's been in some tough wars. Yeah, a little bit hungrier. I don't like how willing Gaethje is to take big shots, and against Fiziev, it's the worst idea because that dude destroys.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I'm leaning him in fight of the night. As everybody knows that
they should already pay them.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think they go out there, they bang. Fiziev's a dangerous kickboxer. He throws some heavy stuff. So I think Gaethje needs to come in there with, like tactical Gaethje that fought Tony Ferguson. I think he needs to come in there and fight smarter than he normally does. And if he can do that, he will get the win. He'll weather Fiziev down, and I think he gets the finish later in the fight. I'm going to take Gaethje with by TKO in the third. What do you think, Phil?
Man, those are some good picks. I could see that, like I said, I like where you're going with that, but I just think that Gaethje, like guys like Gaethje and Chandler, they're just at a point in their career where it's more about being a fan favorite than winning at this point.
Right.
I think that ship has sailed. I don't think he's going to do that. I agree with you. I think that's smart. I think it could go either way. I think both guys are going to go out there Russ probably making the smarter pick, but I think it's going to be an early night. But I'm going to pick Gaethje just because I think it's a step up in competition for Fiziev, and I think that's being in there with Gaethje is a different world than banging with other people. So until I'm proven wrong, and Gaethje's chin has amazingly not been that question. He still takes a lot of big shots these days and doesn't get put down. So
He gets dropped. He gets dropped.
He does.
Doesn't
But
go
he
out.
keeps coming.
Right.
He keeps coming. So
He almost gets knocked out like 3 times per fight.
there's no doubt. Like he'll probably take 1 or 2, but then he just comes back and not everybody can weather that. Like, Chandler, I couldn't believe he survived that.
That was insane.
Yeah, I was like, but he just keeps pouring it on until guys just can't keep going anymore. It's crazy. So
If you're a fight fan and you don't like Gaethje,
you're not a fight fan.
you're not a fight fan.
You're just not a fight fan. That's just, that statement it's an oxymoron.
Right.
That's just the way it is. So.
As much as you don't want to see it, I'm sure like Trevor Whitman is begging Gaethje this week to use his wrestling. Because we all know he has wrestling. And he chooses not to use it. But if there was ever a time,
This would be it.
this would be it.
Because he's a dangerous guy on the feet.
Yeah, even if you take him down and then start punching on him, like
Right.
Yeah.
throw as many haymakers as you want, but put the guy on the ground first.
Yep.
Before you just go out there and just start winging him. But some guys just aren't wired that way. Some guys are fantastic wrestlers, like him and Chandler both are great wrestlers, and they just refuse to go out there and do that.
Hendo was too, and then he decided to go to the whole just let's stand and bang game.
His was a different level because he didn't even just like stand and bang. He was like, I'm gonna do one thing. He's like, I'm gonna turn sideways to make myself not hittable. I'm gonna throw these little leg kicks to try to get closer to you, and I'm just gonna wing haymakers until one of them hits you. Like it was the most predictable game plan in history, but it worked.
Right.
That makes it even more impressive that like you knew exactly what he was gonna do,
And he did it
and
multiple times.
Yeah, it was crazy, but that's why he's an absolute legend, and we love him so much.
That's a good reference you made as well, because the last time UFC did a pay-per-view in London or the UK, that was that card, Bisping versus Hendo.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the last pay-per-view they did over there.
Yes, let the record.
Yep.
Yeah,
They've
let
done
the
like
record
other
sh-
fight nights and
Oh,
stuff
okay.
over there, but pay-per-view.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Let the record show to this day, Hendo won that fight. I'd just like to be clear about that. So that's
Right.
still a little bit bitter about that. He's still the middleweight champion in my opinion, but it's a different conversation altogether.
Right.
Well, this is the point in time that we make the people some money. So, Russ, you've done the research, you've crunched the numbers. Tell the people how they can make some cash this week on the fights.
It is not a highly bettable card. Once it comes on, I'm going to be forcing some action. But like
Z wants to win some money too.
for just for the early bets in this week, Usman by decision is plus 110. I think that's a pretty good bet at plus money.
100%.
You know, and then also I got a parlay with Jack Shore and Fiziev at minus 140. You parlay them together because Jack Shore's a massive favorite, but he looks like future champion material, and I think Fiziev's going to get the win. So
What is the odds on the
only two.
Fiziev fight? He's got to be a decent
I think
favorite.
he's like minus 225. I
Wow.
believe. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. When I looked at it, I watched the countdown earlier, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to bet some money on Fiziev. I think I'm going to get a good line on this." And then I looked at the line. I was like, "Oh, he's a 2-1 favorite or better."
Yeah.
Put some money on Gaethje.
I was gonna say that's the real best bet right there at 2-1 underdog. Gaethje is the money bet
I'll give
right
you the
there.
official line right now. Gaethje's plus 195. Fiziev's minus 230. And Usman,
Wow.
and straight up in that fight, Usman's minus 240 and Leon's plus 200.
Damn.
And then you got.
Gaethje.
I'm kind of surprised Vittori's minus 300 against Dolidze. That Roman Dolidze guy's pretty beastly.
Yeah.
And Vittori is not that great.
And it's
Pretty
just betting against Vittori just because he's kind of annoying.
He is,
You know,
yeah.
like just
I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
Sloth?
just to watch that guy get beat up is, and make money on it, like you can't go wrong. So
Plus,
that's-
I want to stay up during his fight, so I'll have to have some action because
Oh yeah.
freaking dude's boring.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, probably parlay Gaethje and Vittori getting beat up, and that's probably a good 1-2 combo right there. So
Yeah, you can
probably,
make big money on those two
yeah,
dogs.
that's a wild payout right there. So good stuff. And then one of our new segments we wanted to throw over to you guys, I know you guys mentioned it, is like we love MMA so much and many other things. So we're gonna try to, as often as possible, sneak in the realest mother effer of the week. So, and just someone who is a total badass that we want to give a shout out to. I'll throw it over to you guys because you guys had the first pick for this episode.
All right, for this week, because it's relevant, Merab just fought against Jan. We're going with Merab as the realist because he won in dominant fashion against Peter Yan all 5 rounds. And then, he should be next in line probably for a title shot coming up. And he's not going to do the title fight because his teammate is the champion. And I think that's pretty cool, to value friendship over, the money and the belt. You know what I mean? Sometimes, that stuff's more important.
Right, it's pretty noble.
Yeah,
and we rarely have ever seen it in the past.
Yeah,
I can't remember the last time we've seen that. Was it? I think
it seemed like it was an old school MMA thing. You used to hear about it quite a bit,
right?
Right. And then
people used to be loyal, and now loyalty's out the window. They'll switch camps.
Yeah,
on a moment's notice.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but just think about the alpha male guys. As soon as one of them was making up shot, they bailed immediately to get a title shot.
Yeah, that's right.
Constant snake in the grass, man.
But yeah, Merab, real one of the week, realist, father of the week.
I love it. And if you beat Peter Yan, you just get to be on that list, period, because that's no small feat. So
this is true.
Very impressive.
And one more thing, while you're waiting for the UFC to come on Saturday, since we are the Degenerates, don't forget March Madness is this weekend and to fill out your brackets and make some money on those basketball games. There's endless amounts of stuff to gamble on.
I was going to say, on unlimited amount of bets on March Madness. So who do you got going all the way this year, Russ?
I picked Alabama to go all the way. Murder Inc., as we call them. They got the friggin' killer on their team.
That's true.
It's just allowed to play for some random reason.
It is crazy how that happened. And they're just like, oh, yeah, he's going to play while they investigate this. I was like, really?
Wow, guy's getting investigated for murder and he's playing?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yep. And they're one of... I want Kansas to win, but I'm leaning Bama. They've just looked the best thus far. So that's who I'm going with.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I'm not picking Gonzaga like I have the past 72 years because they always let me down in the somewhere around the Final Four or Elite Eight.
I'd probably pick Kansas to win the tournament every year for the past 15 years.
Hey,
it's because it's safe.
You win occasionally then.
Yeah. You just,
That's why we're called the Fight Degenerates. Degenerates being the main word because
absolutely
gambling degenerates and all sorts of degenerates here.
Absolutely. We were going to have a segment about the craziest, about just silly bets. One time, me and Russ bet on if a Coney Island was open. We put a wager on it. So,
right.
We will bet on absolutely anything. So.
And we'll work more bets in the future. Yep. Some more real degenerate bets. And then,
Yeah. Like the dark web of betting, that's what this show will become. We'll be, you can bet on anything and everything in this world, and we'll tell you how to do it and how to win some money.
Leave a bet in the comments. If you give me good odds, I'll take action.
Loser's got to chop his pinky off 4-room style.
I just watched Super Troopers too. I was like, if you lose the bet, you have to cut your big toe off,
right?
With a shovel.
That's a good one, yeah.
Put it in a smoothie.
I just watched that too.
Such a great movie.
That's a good movie, yeah.
Such a great movie.
Yep.
But we're getting a little off the rails here. That being said, we're going to wrap up this inaugural episode of the Fight Degenerates. We appreciate everyone tuning in. We appreciate everyone who supported our own old show all this time. Same great content, new name, some new segments, new dog. Good time. So we appreciate everyone. Enjoy the fights this weekend. We'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, see ya.